You know that feeling? Your alarm goes off that software. Check the news on your phone, more software. Maybe you're using GPS to get somewhere.
Yep, software again. It's everywhere.
It really is. It's like our whole lives are running on these invisible lines of code. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be on the other side of that?
Mm.
To not just use it, but to actually understand how it's made?
That's a really compelling question. I mean, in a world so completely reliant on software, is it enough for us to just be users? Or is there a real benefit, to understanding the mechanics underneath?
That's precisely what we're diving into today. We've been exploring the recent thoughts of Thomas Dohmke. He's the CEO of GitHub.
Right, GitHub. And just for context, GitHub is, well, it's massive. The biggest platform out there for software developers globally.
The absolute powerhouse.
Okay.
Think of it like the central hub, where so much of the world's software actually gets built and shared.
Exactly. So his perspective is definitely shaped by leading this huge ecosystem.
For sure. And for you, our listener, who wants to get smart on important topics, quickly and thoroughly, we're going to unpack why Dohmke believes understanding, maybe even tinkering with software, is becoming more and more vital.
Even if you're not planning to be a developer.
Exactly. Our mission today is to understand why the head of this giant developer platform thinks everyone, yes, even you listening, should engage with coding, even if you have zero plans to become a professional programmer. Okay, so where does he even start with this idea?
Well, his core conviction is really striking. He actually puts learning to code right up there with fundamental skills. Like physics, geography, basic literacy, math. He sees it as a basic element of education for everyone, not just some, niche tech subject.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty bold comparison. I mean, sure, software is pervasive, but is it truly on the same level as, say, reading and writing for everyone in society?
Well, his argument is that it is becoming that fundamental. Think about it. As he points out, it's practically impossible to go through a single day without software.
Yep.
Your morning routine, how you travel, how you communicate, it's all mediated by software. It's like this unseen infrastructure, right? Underpinning so much of modern life.
You're not wrong there. It's
Yeah.
almost like the air we breathe in the digital world. Hard to avoid.
And he takes it a step further. He links it to a basic human drive, the desire to create.
Ah, interesting.
He sees this crucial difference between simply being in read-only mode with technology.
Consuming it.
Exactly. Versus having the ability to actually build things ourselves or, at least grasp how that creation process works on our devices. It's about moving from passive consumption towards active understanding or even participation.
So it's about empowering people to be more than just consumers of technology. Now, Dohmke's own path to leading GitHub, that's quite a story in itself, isn't it? I bet it colors his perspective.
Oh, definitely. He actually grew up in East Berlin before the fall of the wall.
Right. Imagine that, a childhood with pretty limited access to the kind of tech we just take for granted now.
That early environment must have made the wall coming down in '89 incredibly significant. I mean, for an 11-year-old kid, suddenly getting access not just to things like Lego and Mickey Mouse, but this whole new world of computers opening up.
Yeah, it must have been mind-blowing.
A real turning point, you'd think.
Absolutely. He got his first computer, a Commodore 64, in the early 90s, then went on to study at a technical university in Berlin. But his first job, his initial career, it wasn't actually in software as we might think of it now.
Oh, where did he start?
He started in the automotive industry,
Yeah.
working on driver assistance systems for the Mercedes S-Class.
Okay, complex stuff.
Yeah, and then he moved to Bosch, focusing on parking systems. So really solid engineering foundation,
Yeah.
Very physical world engineering.
That background in automotive engineering, it probably gave him a deep appreciation for complex systems, precision, qualities that are definitely valuable in software, too.
Definitely. But the big shift, the real pivot, happened in 2008. He finished his PhD. But maybe even more significantly, Steve Jobs announced the iPhone SDK.
Ah, the software development kit. That changed everything.
Right, it basically gave developers the tools to create apps for the iPhone. Suddenly, everyone wanted to build apps. And Dohmke was right there thinking, okay, I need to be part of this.
So he saw the wave coming.
Totally, and incredibly right in the middle of the global financial crisis.
Oh, wow. Risky time.
He left his stable job at Bosch to become a freelance app developer with a friend from university. Talk about taking a leap of faith.
That really says something about his entrepreneurial drive, doesn't it? And spotting that huge emerging trend Focusing on the German market initially was probably smart, too.
Yeah, they ended up building something like 30 apps in just a couple of years for various German clients, big companies, media outlets, even back into the automotive industry.
Busy couple of years.
Very. And it was through this hands-on experience building all these apps that they hit a real snag. A common problem, actually.
What was that?
Getting early versions of their apps, beta versions out to testers, and then getting reports back when the apps crashed, collecting feedback. It was apparently a really clunky, cumbersome process.
Ah, the distribution and feedback loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be a major headache, especially back then. This is often where the best startup ideas come from, right? Solving a problem you're personally experiencing.
Exactly. So they built a platform for themselves to make this whole thing easier. They called it Hockey App.
Hockey app.
It just streamlined the whole process, distributing those early bills, getting the error reports back all in one place. And because it solved their problem so well,
Other developers must have needed it, too.
precisely, other developers facing the same frustrations naturally started using it. It's like a classic example of scratching your own itch leading to a successful product.
And the fact that Hockey App grew organically, side by side with their app development business, and they both got to about the same size with no outside investment until the acquisition, that really shows the value they were providing, bootstrapped success.
Then comes the unexpected twist, I guess. In 2014, Microsoft came knocking.
Ah, the acquisition call.
Yeah. Initially, Dohmke and his team thought Microsoft was mainly interested in the Hockey App platform itself. Makes sense.
Right.
But in the end, Microsoft actually bought both the product company, Hockey App, and their app development agency.
Oh, interesting. Why both?
Well, the reason was talent. The skilled iOS and Android developers they had on staff were incredibly valuable and just super in demand at the time.
Yeah.
Microsoft wanted the people as much as the product.
So a strategic acqui-hire, as well as product acquisition, that gives you a real insight into the tech talent wars.
Totally. And here's a really fascinating detail. Out of the original 11 employees in their small German company, 7 of them, including Dohmke himself, now work at GitHub.
Wow, that's continuity.
Isn't it? They took this whole journey from a small startup in Stuttgart all the way to, well, the heart of the global developer ecosystem in Seattle. He moved his family there in early 2015, and he talks about the speed of change just being incredible since then.
It really emphasizes the long-term impact of that one acquisition and the journey those individuals have been on. And you can see how his background as a developer, that deep understanding of code, the empathy for the challenges developers face, that must be absolutely crucial in his current role as CEO of GitHub. He's actually been in their shoes.
Which brings us neatly to a massive topic right now, AI, the impact of artificial intelligence on software development. Dohmke is clearly very enthusiastic about its potential.
You kind of have to be in his position, right?
True. He contrasts his early days of coding back in the pre-internet 90s, learning from books, magazines, maybe those local computer clubs.
Yeah, a very different world, much more friction involved in learning.
Compared to how much easier it is to get started today. And he credits AI largely for that shift.
It really is a completely different landscape now. Back then, learning to code often felt like this very individual, resource-intensive effort. Now you've got AI tools like GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT. Someone with an idea can literally generate basic web pages or even simple applications just by typing in a description, a prompt.
It's significantly lowered that initial barrier to entry.
Massively.
Exactly. And it's not just for beginners, people just starting out. Dohmke also points out how AI is a huge productivity booster for experienced developers too.
Right, taking over some of the grunt work.
Yeah, it can handle some of the more routine, repetitive tasks, freeing them up to focus on the more complex, the more creative aspects of their jobs.
He also touches on that constant balancing act developers face, right? The need to innovate, push forward, while also managing what's called technical debt.
Yeah, tech debt. Explain that quickly.
Sure. Think of it like shortcuts taken in the past, or maybe code that wasn't perfectly designed that now needs cleaning up or refactoring to prevent bigger problems later. It slows things down.
Got it. So it's like maintenance for code.
Kind of, yeah. And AI can help with both sides of that coin, writing the new code faster, but also helping to refactor and improve the existing code, paying down that debt.
And of course, GitHub itself is right in the thick of this. They're really leading the charge in AI-powered code generation with tools like GitHub Copilot.
Yeah, they're heavily invested. Their stated goal is pretty straightforward: make developers more efficient, more productive, and ultimately, happier in their work, less frustration.
And the implication for you, our listener, even if you don't plan on a career in coding, just understanding these basics and maybe knowing how to use these AI tools, it could empower you to bring your own digital ideas to life much, much faster than before.
It really does democratize the creation process in a way.
Yeah.
However, Dohmke also offers a really important dose of realism here.
Okay, good. What's the reality check?
While the potential of AI is enormous, he's clear that we aren't anywhere near a point where you can just type a single prompt like, build me a platform like GitHub, and have it magically appear.
Right. Wouldn't that be nice? But yeah, it seems unlikely.
It's just far too complex. He highlights the sheer number of decisions involved in building a big system like that.
Such as?
Well, choosing the right programming languages, the frameworks, which are like pre-built sets of tools, deciding whether to host it on cloud servers or manage your own infrastructure, what operating system to use,
Yeah.
and the overall architecture. Like, do you build it as one big monolith where everything's tightly connected, or use microservices where different parts operate more independently? These are huge architectural choices.
Choices that need, well, human expertise.
Exactly. They require significant technical knowledge, strategic thinking, trade-offs. AI can be a valuable assistant in these processes for sure, generating code snippets, maybe suggesting options.
We can't make those high-level judgment calls.
Not yet, anyway. He emphasizes that human engineers are still absolutely essential. You need people for applying what's called systems thinking, understanding how all the different pieces fit and work together.
Right, the bigger picture.
Yeah, and for good design, for building useful applications that actually meet a need in the market. You know, product market fit, provide a good user experience, and ultimately maybe make a profit. There's still a vital human element in creating successful software. AI doesn't understand market needs or user psychology.
That's a crucial point to keep in mind amidst all the AI hype. Okay, so shifting focus a bit, let's talk about GitHub itself. It's more than just a platform, isn't it? It's this massive community.
Huge, around 150 million users, he said. And it has this really strong positive brand identity. People genuinely seem to like GitHub. Their mascot, Mona the Octocat, it's actually beloved.
Mona. Yeah, it's quite iconic in the developer world. It really speaks to the connection developers feel with the platform. But as Dohmke points out, with that much love comes a lot of opinion.
And feedback. Probably an overwhelming amount.
Exactly. He says the challenge is sorting through it all, finding the important signals amidst all the noise. He shared a funny story about when they explicitly asked for user feedback once. They were just completely swamped by the response. Mostly positive, which is great, but just sheer volume shows how engaged their community is.
It's the good problem to have, I guess. But yeah,
Yes.
filtering that must be tough. And another really interesting thing about GitHub's culture is their commitment to being remote first.
Right, and this wasn't just a pandemic thing for them. They were doing this way before 2020.
Yeah, it was a deliberate decision from the very beginning about how they wanted to operate the company. And it makes sense. Their own platform kind of facilitates it, right?
So.
Well, it encourages open source collaboration where code is shared openly and asynchronous communication, meaning people don't have to be online at the exact same time to work effectively together. It's a global remote team.
Ah, that makes sense. They also rely heavily on tools like Slack and video calls, apparently use much less internal email than many traditional companies.
Yeah, it's a different way of working. Managing a remote global team across all those time zones, it definitely presents unique challenges. Dohmke mentioned waking up sometimes, especially when he's traveling, to just a huge number of Slack messages.
Sounds like a constant juggling act.
Yeah.
Prioritizing, staying connected across continents and time zones.
For sure. But he emphasizes that this remote structure, it gives their employees incredible flexibility. And importantly, he says it doesn't actually hinder their day-to-day work. It's core to their identity, how they attract talent globally.
Okay, so bringing all these threads together, Dohmke seems to have 3 key takeaways he really wants people to grasp.
Yes, he boiled it down nicely. The first one, and he feels very strongly about this, every child should learn coding.
Back to that fundamental skill idea.
Exactly. He compares it again to reading, math, but clarifies. The goal isn't to turn everyone into a professional software developer.
Just like learning physics doesn't mean everyone becomes a physicist.
Precisely. It's about providing a foundational understanding of the technology that now shapes so much of our world, building a basic level of digital literacy for everyone.
Okay, makes sense. What's number 2?
Number 2 is use AI. He really sees artificial intelligence as this powerful democratizing force,
Democratizing how?
making technology more accessible to everyone. He specifically mentioned people who don't speak English fluently, since English is still, the dominant language in software development.
Yeah.
AI can bridge that gap. He frames AI as this helpful assistant that can empower anyone to realize their creative ideas.
So it lowers the barrier to entry,
Yeah.
empowers individuals regardless of their technical background or native language.
Okay.
And the third takeaway.
The third one is aimed more at current and aspiring software developers. Keep learning and rehearsing. Continuous learning and practice.
Because the field changes so fast.
Incredibly fast. New technologies, new languages, new frameworks, new approaches pop up constantly. He stresses that a commitment to lifelong learning is absolutely essential to stay relevant and effective. And he points to his own 30-year career as proof the constant need to adapt and learn new things over decades.
It's definitely a field that demands that kind of mindset. You can't just learn one thing and be set for life.
Not at all.
Okay? So we can't really talk to the CEO of GitHub without asking about his favorite tool, right?
Any guesses?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say GitHub Copilot.
You got it. Unsurprisingly, it's GitHub Copilot. As he put it, it's kind of their baby, and he gets to see and use new features way before they're released publicly.
Perks of the job.
Right. And he says because he's still at heart a developer, he uses it pretty much daily.
Did he give an example? Like a specific use case?
Yeah, actually a really practical one. He talked about needing to write a quick script to download repository IDs from their own API.
Okay, API. Application Programming Interface. Like the doorway for programs to talk to each other.
Exactly. So normally he estimated it would have taken him maybe half an hour, digging through the API documentation, figuring out the syntax, writing the script himself.
Standard developer stuff.
Yeah. But with Copilot, he said it was done in just a few minutes, just described what he needed, and it generated the code.
Wow. That's a significant time saving. A real productivity boost right there.
Definitely. And he highlighted what he sees as the real superpowers of AI in this context.
Yeah.
Things like infinite patience.
Unlike human mentors sometimes.
Right. And a complete lack of judgment. Plus, a willingness to be corrected and guided. You can tell it, no, that's not quite right, try it this way, and it just does it. He sees it as an ideal learning partner because it never makes you feel stupid for asking questions or making mistakes.
That's a really great point about the learning aspect. Less intimidating than asking a person sometimes.
For sure. And beyond just coding, he also mentioned other ways he's folding AI into his daily workflow.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Things like generating images for blog posts or presentations. He admitted he's not great with Photoshop, so AI helps bridge that gap.
Andy.
Also, summarizing meetings using AI features in Microsoft Teams, which is especially useful when he's traveling and misses things live. Getting quick summaries of long email threads.
Oh, that'd be useful for everyone.
Totally. And even managing his calendar more efficiently, using AI tools like Reclaim AI. It sounds like he's really embracing AI across the board to just boost his personal productivity.
It really paints a picture of a future where AI acts more like a personal assistant, right? Augmenting our own capabilities in lots of different areas, work, and maybe personal life too.
Yeah, and he's clearly excited about the constant stream of new AI tools emerging all the time. It's a rapidly evolving space.
So, okay, as we wrap this up,
Yeah.
what we've really taken away from Thomas Dohmke's perspective is this compelling vision. First, that understanding the basics of coding. It's becoming a truly fundamental skill in our world, which is just increasingly built on software.
Right. Basic digital literacy includes coding literacy, essentially.
Second, that AI, artificial intelligence, is playing this huge transformative role.
Yeah.
It's making both learning about software and actually creating it more accessible and way more efficient than ever before.
Lowering barriers and boosting productivity, yeah.
And third, for anyone involved in tech, or frankly even just curious about it, that need for continuous learning. It's absolutely non-negotiable now. You have to keep up.
Constant evolution is the name of the game. And for you, our listener, we hope this deep dive has given you a concise but still thorough understanding of Dohmke's perspective and maybe these larger trends shaping the future of software and technology.
Exactly. And it kind of leaves us with this final thought, maybe something to chew on. Given the growing power and, crucially, the accessibility of AI for creation, how might you listening explore these tools to maybe move beyond just being a passive user of technology? What ideas might you want to bring to life? Or, what aspects of the digital world might you be curious to understand just a little bit better using these new capabilities, even if you have zero technical background right now?
It's definitely something to ponder. What could you build or understand with these tools at your fingertips?